All right, we are rolling. Welcome to the debut episode of The Medalist. That would be me. And I'm going to start today with something on all topics hard rock and heavy metal. More the classic stuff, not so much the extreme stuff. But hey, maybe down the road, if you guys have some suggestions on different things I might want to listen to, I'm up for it. Okay. So I'm going to start off with a band that I know and love very well. And you can probably tell by the shirt where I'm going with this. It's UFO. Been a fan of theirs since, I don't know, 77, something like that. Probably like when a lot of people became fans of theirs when Lights Out came out. If you don't know UFO, please go check them out. You're going to be impressed. And if you're going to be impressed, here's a good record to start with. And this is kind of what my topic is for today. This guy right here. Let's try not to get any glare. There we go. I'm trying to see if I can see it. There we go. This is called Strangers in the Night. This is a live album they put out in 1979. You notice there's some scribbling on this thing. So what we have up here, this is the late, great Paul Raymond. He played keyboards and also second guitar. Down here we have guitar virtuoso Michael Schenker. That's his autograph. Over here we have lead singer and constant member of UFO for their more than 50-year history now, Phil Mogg. And up here we have also the late, great Pete Way. We lost Pete last year in 2020, and we lost Paul, I think, the year before. But they still toured. I got to see them before all the COVID stuff started, so it was like February of 2020. They came back. They brought back one of their other members that had played in the band in the past, a guy named, the guy whose name I can't think of right now. No, it's a guy named Neil Carter, and he played with them in the early 80s. But this is the classic lineup as in most people's estimation. And in this case, this is my favorite record ever. And I own a lot of records, but this is the favorite. Okay. So why am I talking about this guy? Well, here's what happened here not too long ago. So again, this is my favorite album. So picture your favorite album, right? Picture your favorite album of all time. All right. Now, multiply it by 8. Yeah. So they decided to put out a box set of this thing, and I was just like, oh man, this is going to be good, right? So I wanted to talk about that, maybe promote this for some people. Now, if you're not familiar with UFO, like I said, start with the single disc of Strangers in the Night. And if you don't like them after that, I don't know what to tell you, okay? It's just not your thing. And most people with UFO, it's either they think they're one of the greatest bands of all time, or they don't get them. There's really not anybody saying, yeah, UFO's okay. It's pretty much one or the other. They think they're just phenomenal, or it's like, I don't know, never heard of them. So anyway, what they did here, the original album, most people think was recorded entirely in Chicago. That's not the case. The reason most people think that is because the album starts out with "Hello, Chicago." Well, that was one of the cities they played, but they played in 6 different cities that they recorded. And those cities included, like I said, they had the Chicago show was the 13th of October, 78. The 14th was in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And the 15th was in Youngstown, Ohio, which happens to be the very first time I saw UFO was in Youngstown, Ohio. Now, they're calling it the Tomorrow Club. I could have swore it was the Youngstown Agora, but I don't know. They're calling it the Tomorrow Club. I don't remember that. And then the next night, I went to see them in Cleveland at the Agora, famous Agora Theater up in Cleveland, Ohio. And that was on October 16th. Then they played Columbus. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the Columbus show. And then finally, the Louisville Gardens on the 18th. So these 6 shows comprised what became the original album. So part of the fun for me is listening to the record and going, okay, I think that's the one they actually used. That's the take they used for the album that we've known for the past 40-some years. Okay, so it's a pretty cool thing. So nice packaging, as you can see, kind of a homage to the original album. And then we open her up here. Here we got all the individual shows. Probably can't see that, but we'll try. So it actually focuses in. There we go. Okay. So what they did was they gave us an original copy here. This is what the old album looked like with the gatefold sleeve. This is what the guys look like back in the day. Let's try not to get any. So that's the boys there. So from left to right, we've got Andy Parker, Michael Schenker, Pete Way, Phil Mogg, and finally we have Paul Raymond. Okay, so that was the boys. So this is what the original album looked like. If you remember albums, those great big things. And it was a double record. Now these days it's a single CD because back then you couldn't put as much stuff on a record as you can on a CD. But just to make it nice, they actually put it on 2 CDs. So we get like the double CD thing going on here. And this is what the original label looked like, the Chrysalis label right there. Okay. So that's the original album. Not that I don't have several copies of it already. Because a few years back, they went ahead and released one that had 2 extra tracks, and one was from Youngstown and one was from Columbus. So being that I was at the Youngstown show, that was pretty cool. Okay. So again, then they've got the individual albums. What's nice is, for those of you that are fans of the band and know this album, some of these had tracks that they didn't put on the album. Good example right here on this one is, if you can see it there, there's a track called On With The Action. Okay. So that was one that they didn't include, but it's on here several different times. And UFO, while they were a fantastic live band, they did vary a lot from night to night. And they would change up the set list a little bit, unlike most bands today that don't change anything. So here's another one with On With The Action. Okay, so then they had a couple other tracks here that they did. All right, what else we got here? Hot and Ready. So legend has it that Paul Raymond, the keyboard player and second guitarist, he used to sing the background to this song, and he used to sing Hot and Ready Pizza to Go, which used to drive Phil Mogg, the singer, nuts. So finally they quit doing it, and they didn't actually put it on the album. So this one is the Agora Theater from Cleveland. In my estimation, this is the best individual show, not just because I was there, but when you listen to it, particularly bassist Pete Way and drummer Andy Parker are very aggressive and very up in the mix, which is very cool. So Hot and Ready was a tune that didn't make the album. Pack It Up and Go was another one that didn't make the album. And this was for their Obsession tour, which a lot of people, including myself, think is UFO's best studio album. I mean, there's a lot of people that like Lights Out. But this one was kind of my favorite too. And unfortunately, this was the end of the line for Michael Schenker, at least at that point. But like I said, I'll probably do a show on UFO's history in general at some point, so look for that. Okay, so then Cherry is another song that didn't make the list, and these were all songs from the Obsession album. But yeah, so just really nice packaging here. Now, as it turns out, like I said, I didn't make it to Columbus, but when listening to the Columbus show, it's like, ooh, a little rough around the edges. But here's the nice part. I mean, this is all raw recordings. This is a band that played 6 shows in 6 nights, which these days is pretty much unheard of. And then they have a nice booklet in here somewhere. Yeah, it's this guy. Okay, little change on the cover here. But yeah, some good stuff here. I'll give you a little look at that. We got some cool looking photos, right? And we got some stuff to read. These are some old singles, some of which I have, some of which I don't. This particular one I do have. So yeah, got some good stuff here. Yeah, okay. So like I say, if you're a fan of this band and you're a fan of this album, this is a must. And not too expensive. I think mine, tax title out the door, set me back about $62, $64, something like that. But you know, for an 8 CD set. And then of course this was also the inside of the album. And it's actually a bunch of dots, but when you kind of hold it back like this, it just looks like a photo. But it's a dot matrix kind of thing. And we got some Japanese stuff, of course. Most bands that were really, really good musically were always popular in Japan, and UFO was no exception. And got some old articles here, so a lot of good eye candy here, some good extra swag. And we got all the track listings here. And a little more about the productions and stuff. And I don't know, this might be the original picture that they took the dot matrix from, or it might be just one that's kind of close. I'd have to really kind of compare it, which I really haven't. But there's the guys again. All right, so again, if you're a big fan of the band, this is well worth it. Really nice package, and I highly recommend it. If you're not a fan of the band, but you think you might be, start with this guy here. Obviously yours won't be autographed, but that's okay. But start with the original guy. And like I say, in the future, look for more clips that I'm going to be doing on various topics, hard rock, heavy metal. If you have suggestions, you know, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate that since I'm just getting going here. And like I said, we will go on from there. And also check it out. I'll be posting, believe it or not, I teach math. So I'm going to have a math channel too. And I'll be giving you some information on that. Maybe put a link down below, and we'll go from there. But once again, appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see y'all next time.